and I'm here with Thom VanHorn. He is Vice President of Global Marketing at database security company Application Security. Hi, Thom.
Hi, how are you doing, Angela?
Good. So today we're talking database security. So can you just tell us what are the main threat vectors to databases?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're seeing more and more attacks on databases, both government databases and commercial databases. There are a number of ways people get in. They can get in through the network, through applications. There can be insiders within organizations who have privileges to access databases. If you look at the statistics, actually anywhere from 50 to 80% of database breaches are attributed to insiders.
Okay.
Now that can be either malicious activity or innocent activity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the employee who downloads some data to their PC, takes it home to do some work, and they stop at the coffee shop and their computer gets stolen. Still a breach, still requires notification. Wasn't a malicious act, but it still has a serious impact for the company.
Right.
It's both, you know, there have been reports from the federal government that the government databases are being probed in excess of 1 million times a day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a serious problem. And I think the good news is we're definitely taking strides. The government is reacting. They're enforcing stricter regulations. There's renewed focus on cybersecurity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely not too soon.
So the biggest threat vector is actually the internal threat then?
The insiders account for, like I said, depending on who you talk to, anywhere from 50 to 80%
That's
of all
interesting.
data breaches.
And then the external threat, usually they get in through the application.
Yeah, they're coming in through applications. Sometimes there's a combination of a disgruntled insider working with an external source. But there's a long list of vulnerabilities that exist within databases. Some of them are related to patches that haven't been applied. Other things are, you know, simply things like bad passwords. You know, you can have someone externally who's guessing passwords or looking at default passwords on databases or in apps that ship with the product that the user never changed.
Right.
Just a poor security policy. Other times, you know, people they want something they can remember. So it's, if you live in Boston like I do, it might be Red Sox, you know,
Yeah.
or it might be
So it's easy,
your
yeah.
initials, or admin 123 is a popular one, or things like that.
So how are organizations doing overall with database
Doing a lot better. I think the emergence of more and more compliance regulations, stronger enforcement of those compliance regulations have gone a long way. That being said, we've got a long way to go. We did a study about a year ago, a little bit less than a year ago, where we talked to enterprise organizations, people responsible, senior level executives responsible for database security. 84% of the respondents told us that they believed they had adequate security in place. And then we found out that 56% of that same population had been breached in the past 12 months. So
wow.
We're getting better, but there's still a false sense of security out there.
And where does database security rank among all security initiatives within
All
an
security,
organization?
you know, everyone is struggling for funding.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the statistics, we did some of this in our report too. Security accounts for anywhere from 4 to 6%.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, security is a percentage of IT budget,
Mm-hmm.
and then within that, database security specifically is about 4 to 6%.
Okay.
So if you run the numbers, and you're looking at somewhere around 2 to 3% probably of the total IT budget. And when you're talking about what we call the crown jewels of an organization, the proprietary information, the personal information, their most valuable data, we think that there should be more of an emphasis placed on securing that stuff.
More of an investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And time, in both money and resources.
Right.
And by automating a lot of stuff, you can make trade-offs. When you look at an organization, the database administrators, the IT guys, it's not like they don't have enough to do.
Right.
So, I mean, if you get some automated solutions that allow you to, perform best practices, methodologies, and automate as much as possible, it's a good investment to make.
So can you go through just some of the best practices then for database
Yeah,
security?
yeah. I think the first thing you have to recognize is database security risk compliance. It's not something you do once and you walk away from. So there's kind of a circle of life related to you that's ongoing and has to be repeated.
Yes.
From a best practice standpoint, the first thing you should do is perform a thorough discovery. When we go into organizations to help them with this, it's very rare that we go into an organization where we don't find databases that they didn't know they had.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe test databases that weren't decommissioned, maybe a remote office put up a database, things like that. But we always discover databases they didn't know existed.
And do most of them have sensitive information in them?
Yeah, most of them do.
Mm-hmm.
Some more sensitive than others.
Mm-hmm.
Some may have all your employees' social security numbers, your customers' credit cards. Others may just may have the cafeteria menu and the company softball roster. You're not as worried about those. So anyway, once we've discovered all those databases, the next step is to classify them. So that's to look at them and see what kind of database they are, what release, what patch level they're at, what information is contained, which have sensitive information on them. So discover, assess, or classify rather. Next step is assess. Basically, you want to go and see what vulnerabilities exist then, once you know what it is and what data is on there.
Mm-hmm.
So you run a thorough vulnerability assessment. You'll find everything from those default or easy passwords to patches missing, to misconfigurations,
Right.
etc.
Mm-hmm.
Long list. I mean, we've got a tool that has literally thousands of vulnerabilities that we check against these databases. So now we've assessed them. We know what's going on. Next step, we got to prioritize it. If I'm a big company with thousands of databases that need to be patched, I can't do it overnight, right? So identify the ones that have the most critical information, that are most critical to the organization, and begin with those. It's common sense.
Mm-hmm.
Do the most important things first. And then you begin fixing things. As much of that's automated, if you have a tool that has automated fix scripts, that obviously makes the process a lot easier. And you go through a process to fix the highest priority and work your way down to the lower priority. Like I said, you can't do everything, so the next best practice is to monitor those that have vulnerabilities that you know about that you just haven't gotten to yet.
Mm-hmm.
So database activity monitoring or auditing constantly looks at those databases, make sure those vulnerabilities aren't being exploited, and if they are, we'll issue immediate alerts so you can take action before any real damage occurs.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final part, which isn't really a step as much as something that kind of consolidates all this information together, is you want to have good reporting, analytics, and dashboards so that the people in the various roles within the organization can focus on the information they need.
Mm-hmm.
And distills it all down, lets them use their time most effectively.
Management and the auditors that.
Yeah, and provide reports to the auditors and be ahead of the game when it comes to compliance audits. Make sure you know what the auditor is going to discover before the auditor comes in the door, because you've already essentially done it for yourself.
Right.
And then you do it all over again.
Mm-hmm.
You can't secure your data or pass an audit and then forget about it, because as we've seen, new vulnerabilities appear every day. New users are assigned to the databases. You really have to keep on top of that game.
Okay. All right, Tom. Thank you.
You bet.
And thanks to you for watching. Have a great day.